So in this video, I'm gonna show you more dry heat cooking techniques we use in order to cook food. There's two types I'm gonna show you. It's called shallow frying and deep frying. Thing is, they're almost the same, but there's only one difference about them. My name is Jet, and I'm this guy who's teaching basic cooking in my channel. You guys feel free to check and learn from me, I guess. Alright, so in this technique, we use oil to cook them. The only difference is about shallow frying and deep frying is deep frying, we fully submerge the food into like oil or into fats, right? And that's what cooked them. But in shallow frying, it's from the word shallow, right? We don't fully submerge the food, but we only like partially submerge them, or you know, half of it's cooking, then half of it. This is when you're shallow frying, right? You see that only not a lot of oil. But when you're deep frying, right, you can see that the oil has more oil, and you can fully submerge the food in there. So the main goal why we're doing this is to cook food in the fats, right? So we use breaded or buttered ingredients in order to, like, you know, give them a crispy texture, right? A crunchy texture, crispy, something like that.
Hiya!
So today in this video, I'm gonna show you how to cook using shallow frying and deep frying. Then in my next videos, I'm gonna show you how to butter foods and how to bread foods. I'm gonna show you the basic components so you can make your own, and then you can impress your mom and tell her to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's start with the shallow frying. Always remember that the food is partially submerged in here. You know, you cook the other side, then you flip it. Most ideal food to cook in a shallow fry is like breaded foods, right? I don't think buttered foods are good for this. Usually thick ingredients or wider ingredients. Most common examples are fried chickens, right? I mean, you can deep fry fried chicken if you want. But the thing is, they're so big and you have to flip them multiple times in order to cook them. But yeah, anyways, if you don't want it here, then you can deep fry it. But all I'm just saying is this is the one that's ideal for this. Alright, so the first step you need is just to get a pan and an oil and heat it up. Alright, you gotta heat it up for about medium to medium high heat. I'm gonna demonstrate you in this pan how to shallow fry. So yeah, I have a chicken and a fish here. Also note that the amount of oil, it will matters on how thick is the ingredient is. Usually if you're cooking a chicken like this thick, the oil in a pan should be like the half of it, right? You're gonna need a metal tool in order to flip them, right? But note that sometimes they get hotter, right? How do you know if the oil is hot, right? You can just shake it up and you can see the shimmering, right? Some people use wood or something like to test it, and you'll see that if it's the oil reacting to the wood, it means it's getting hot. The other thing is splash of water. I'm not even kidding. That's what we all do in the Philippines. Right? If you hear that sound, they're ready. And you should hear that sizzle. You should hear that whoosh, because if you don't, you're doing something wrong. Fish. Right. When to flip it, usually if you see the crust is, you know, having a nice color, having a nice crispy texture, you can flip it. I'll show you how beautiful it is. Look at the crust, right? There you go. Perfect. Alright, so I pulled the fish because fish is easy to cook. Alright, in some cases, you know, like in our country, when we're shallow frying, it's, you know, we just cut the fish and we straight throw it to the oil. The more the food has moisture in it or water, the more it will react to the oil, right? The reason why it splashes like crazy. Because in the Philippines, what we normally do is we just, you know, we just cut the fish as it is, and we just throw it in the oil. There you go. So that means it's cooked. The thing I learned is after you cook the foods, you know, you gotta rest them. And yeah, the reason why we do this is for the air to circulate, right? So because if you have two breaded chicken stuck on each other, the bread will get soggy. I think I cut it the wrong way. Right? So you can see it's perfectly cooked. Right? There's no raw stuff or any pink stuff. And that's how you do a breaded chicken. As you can see, I can just cut it in here, and if you look inside, it's cooked. So yeah, that's that one. That's shallow frying, right? The next thing I'm gonna show you is how to deep fry. The thing now is we cook the food fully submerged into the oil. The temperature we use for the oil should be 350 to 375. Normally that's the temperature they use in a restaurant, and that's the temperature I learned. Also, if you're doing a deep frying in a pot like this, or you don't have a deep fryer, I believe the heat should be medium to medium high. Alright, sometimes some cases you're gonna use the high heat, but I believe it's normally to medium high to high heat. There's so much food you can deep fry, right? You can deep fry fried chicken, like chicken fingers and stuff like that, right? Breaded chicken that are like small or any shape, or any frozen stuff, right? French fries. And so the thing you gotta watch out for deep frying is this. Alright, there's two things. So if your oil is too low, like not really high enough, what will happen to your food is it will get oily. Problem with higher heat, if it's too high, the food will get burned, or the crust or the butter, whatever it is, it will get burned before you cook what's inside. So you gotta watch out for those two. I have fries in here, right? I'm just gonna show you how it works. So what happened there is why you see it like forming a bubble and stuff. It's the moisture from the food, right? It's getting cooked off, and what happens is the moisture evaporates, and you know it forms a crusty or a crunchy texture. There you go. So you just wait for the fries, right? In order to tell if it's cooked, is just get a fry and just snap it, and if it snapped easily, it means it's done. Also, deep fried stuff, they're best to season after you deep fry them, right? What happens is when we deep fry the food, the first thing is it creates a crust, or right, you know, the crispy texture. Then the moisture underneath the crust, you know, it created the steam, and that's what cooked the food inside. A lot of people believe that all the oil goes into the food, but not really. Only gonna go to your food if you cook it wrong, or if you didn't heat the oil enough. But if you done it right, it will go to that. Alright, so the tools we need in order to deep fry are flannel tongs, right, so you don't burn yourself, a strainer or a spider, right, this is what we scoop the shit. I don't want to say that. So yeah, I'm gonna show you how to deep fry foods, okay? Fryer is easier. It's easiest cooking too, because most of the stuff is you just need the thermometer to check the food if it's done. Most of the food they float away if they're done. Alright, I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say a buttered fish, right? You're gonna put a butter. I made a butter here. The first step is you have to kind of like swing it around. That's the thing I learned from this restaurant. Really easy to tell them if they're cooked, right? Just grab one and cut inside. You should see that the texture of the fish has changed. It turned into white, right? When we're deep frying, you always see the rock like this, right? So the air circulates. There you go. This is the lumps I'm talking about, especially when when you're using buttered, right? You're gonna get a lumps like this. That's where we use this. Now that you learn how to deep fry, so you can anything you can deep fry, right? Right? You can use it in any vegetables, right? Some people like buttered mushrooms. I'm gonna use a basket for this. Now I hope you understand it, and that should be looks easy to you, right? Right now I'm just showing you how to cook using this technique, but in my next video I'm gonna show you how to actually make the thing, so you can deep fry anything, right? If I break it like this, you can see that it's cooked. I mean, this is what I do in my job anyway, every day. In some cases, right, let's say we're deep frying in a basket. Sometimes you have to do this in order to cook the food, because sometimes the top of the food doesn't cook. So you have to do that, right? Normally, once they're like formed the crust, they're good to go. Right? The deep fry is we normally check the food, right? You can always cut it like how I showed you. That's a normal way if you don't have a thermometer, or if you have a thermometer, it's the best way. So there you go. I hope you understand what I taught you. Right? Also, after you deep fry, it's best to turn it off right away, right? So you don't burn the oil. Normally, if you use oil, sometimes you strain it. You will hear that thing called cheesecloth, or we use a strainer for oil, right? So we can save it again. Also, from what I've taught you, is you can literally create the dishes now, whatever you want, as long as you use the technique I've showed you, right? Just hoping that you actually learn, and yeah, support me for more, and if you like my videos, feel free to watch, and have a good day.